Hello, freaks.
Eddie's
Where do you
here.
get it?
Eddie's here. Talk about UFOs already. Michael Chavello, the guy from K1 and Dream, the Australian dude that we hung out with in Australia.
Yeah.
He's a big UFO guy, and he was down at the Roswell Museum, and he actually saw a UFO and took fucking photos of it and shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, who the fuck knows, man?
If you have any UFO questions, go ahead and shoot.
Oh, the History Channel documentary, I Know What I Saw. Yeah, I saw that one too. That was kind of interesting.
That was the best documentary I've ever seen on UFOs. Definitely. I know what I saw. It was one of those rare documentaries about UFOs that didn't have like the other side. They didn't have a guy going, well, it's all just mythology and, it's in their minds and they're all crazy and why are they landing in Idaho all the time? Why not in big cities? And they didn't have any of those guys because it was so ridiculous because they had so many high-ranking military officers coming forward. That one case in England on a U.S. base where they had 80 witnesses and 3 of the guys went up to it and touched it and wrote down notes on it and they all came up and the Ministry of Defense they said this is not a concern of national defense. That's their comment. So that alone right there is pretty crazy. And those Arizona lights, I mean, people saying there was, I don't know how many witnesses, but
the Arizona Lights is pretty crazy. I know a dude who lived in Arizona saw that. He said he saw the big pyramid thing flying through the air.
And they're saying it's like bigger than aircraft carrier.
Yeah, he said it was like a football field.
Yeah.
He said it was gigantic. He said it was a gigantic, big pyramid-shaped thing flying through the sky. Who the fuck knows? My take on UFOs is, if there really were aliens that could come here from another planet, do you think that they would be so silly that they wouldn't disguise themselves? I think a lot of the shit we see all the time could be UFOs. I told you about that crazy dude that told me that he was showing me pictures of clouds.
Yeah.
There's a dude that I know who's a comedian. He's a very nice guy. And the other day, I'm talking to him at the Improv, and homeboy says, "What do you think about UFOs?" And I said, "Well, hey, man, I don't know. I haven't seen one, but I don't discount the idea. I mean, it's certainly possible. Obviously, we have spaceships, and for someone from other planets, if they're more intelligent than us, for sure they could have spaceships." So he starts pulling out his iPhone, and the dude has like dozens of pictures of clouds on his phone. And I'm like, what is that? What do you think about this? Look at this right there. And I go, "It's a cloud." And he goes, "Yeah, but it's an unusually shaped cloud. Look at it." And I'm like, "Oh no, he's crazy." I'm like, "He's fucking crazy." This dude takes pictures of clouds, all different clouds, and he's convinced that these clouds are UFOs.
Yeah.
But on one hand, you got to think like, if you really are so super intelligent that you can visit from other planets, why would you, for sure, we're working on cloaking devices right now. There's already this Japanese jacket that's been invented that basically takes an image of what's behind you and broadcasts it on the front of the jacket. It's basically like Predator type shit. You remember from the movie The Predator?
Yeah.
And they really have this already. I mean, it's not perfected, but we can't travel to other planets yet either. You know what I'm saying? So if someone from another planet is so much more highly intelligent than we are, that they can actually travel here from other galaxies or other solar systems, for sure they've figured something like this out. So when you're seeing the sky, I mean, it's very possible, that what you're seeing is, if there are UFOs, you would see an image of the sky behind the UFO being projected on the UFO. So you wouldn't see shit. That said, if you could take into account how many UFOs are reported, I mean, it's like there's some ridiculous amount of UFOs reported. And if you take into account how many people see and don't report, they don't say anything because they don't want to look foolish. That's a lot of goddamn UFOs. I think a lot of what people are seeing is military jets that they don't understand. Like when I was we did Fear Factor down near Edwards Air Force Base, and they had stealth bombers that flew up. Dude, you see a stealth bomber, you think that's a goddamn spaceship.
Yeah, the French government did a test with there was a serious review of all there's like 50,000 or something, 50,000 since a certain year. There's probably way more. But they came to the conclusion that 95% of the reported cases can be explained away with that, like military, all this high-ranking military, or this top-secret military planes and different lights. But they said 5% most likely are aircraft from other worlds.
Well, I don't know why they can say aircraft from other worlds, because I don't necessarily think we have
it's more likely
a perfect inventory of what exists in this world.
No, but they're saying that that's probably what that is more likely. It's some extraterrestrial craft than there's 5% of the
just
evidence.
Because it's not from our government or the Russian government doesn't necessarily mean even it's from another planet. We don't know what the fuck is in the ocean.
Well,
that
that's true.
Ridiculous,
no,
but
totally.
a lot of UFOs get sighted.
Yeah, they're called
coming
USOs.
out of the there was a whole History Channel documentary about that, and people go, "Well, that's ridiculous. That's nonsense. That's silly." It's silly that you could send a fucking picture, that you could take this fucking thing and send a video across the sky into somebody else's phone in Australia. That's way more silly than some people from another planet have visited here, or that there's something living in the ocean.
Especially when you have guys like ex-Pentagon high-ranking officials like Philip Corso, who before he died, he wrote a book and he explained his job in the government, in the Pentagon, was taking crashed UFO stuff, taking it to Hughes Aircraft and Lockheed and all these different aerospace companies to reverse engineer it. He's saying, he was like, there's many interviews on YouTube with Philip Corso. He's dead now. He was on Dateline, and they try to like ridicule him. But, how do you...
J. Allen Hynek, too, is another excellent example of that. J. Allen Hynek was the guy who was in charge of Project Blue Book, and he was told by the government when they had this thing to explain away everything. Swamp gas, mass hysteria, anything they could do to explain away UFO cases. But as he became more involved in Project Blue Book, and as he investigated more and more sightings and dealt with more and more evidence, he became absolutely convinced that UFOs were real. So J. Allen Hynek, who is like a guy actually working to discredit UFOs, eventually came out and started supporting the whole UFO movement. So I think it's not ridiculous to think that we've been visited. I mean, we go to the Congo all the time and stare at chimpanzees. I mean, if you were from another planet and you had the ability to travel here, why wouldn't you check out people? People are fucking completely ridiculous. They're probably fascinating. I mean, what would be more? We study lower forms of animals. We always have, and we have been doing this since the beginning of time. I mean, people have always been interested in botany, and we've always been interested in studying different monkeys and different weird animals and other. And I mean, that's the whole thing with Darwin. He took it took an account of all these different animals that he came across. We've always done shit like that, and I think if we were much higher intelligence than human beings, we would want to do that with people. We would want to check out and see what the fuck people are up to, see if people are evolving, see what the bottleneck is as far as like social and cultural evolution, and see what the bottleneck is as far as technological evolution, and whether or not our technology is surpassing our ability as a human being, like to make rational decisions. And I think it probably is right now. They just fired up the Large Hadron Collider yesterday. Yesterday was like the first test.
Nospohatu is watching.
Bart, and it just barbecues every fucking satellite it sees.
They got to have backup satellites and just floating out there in protective cases. So if anything happens, the other ones, they just press a button.
Launch it.
Yeah, they open the new case. Boom.
What if they're going to put shields over satellites, like big radiation shields? That's going to have to be the next
force
thing, right?
fields.
Something like that,
It's
right?
got to be force fields. It's got to have something to do with magnets and force fields.
Well, yeah, you're right, because that's what our gravity is, right?
Right.
I mean, our magnetosphere, right?
Right.
And the gas that surrounds the Earth and our atmosphere.
If we just suspend some gold
Basically
dust
what it
particles
is.
up in the atmosphere, we'll be fine.
Zachariah Sitchin style.
Yeah, it's real simple.
So Eddie's a big proponent of the ancient alien theory, and Eddie's the first person that ever got me into Zachariah Sitchin, and we've had, dude, how many bones have we smoked? Fucking talking about the Anunnaki. I mean, we've had more ridiculous spaceman, alien, Anunnaki conversations,
Yeah.
ancient tribe theories shit where civilizations died off and left so much information that was just lost forever, like the Mayans and of course the Sumerians, and and the Sumerians talk of an even older civilization before them. So Eddie's the one who got me into that. The first Scott, right? Scott Redondo, right?
No. He actually he brought it up to me. No, he brought it up, but it never registered. He goes, dude, listen to this radio station Coast to Coast. This was like 10 years ago, and I never listened to Scott. But Gina, the first girl I produced musically, she's about as crazy as they come.
Oh, yeah.
And she was talking about a party
Very
last night.
talented girl. Yeah. Super talented singer, but crazy.
She goes, oh, my God, I was at this party last night, and this guy was talking about how we were created as slaves to mine gold for aliens on another planet. And I'm like, oh, my God, shut the fuck up. I was like, Gina, just shut the fuck up. She goes, no, everybody was tripping out on this guy talking about this crazy. I'm like, aliens made us as slaves to mine gold. Shut the fuck up, Gina. Let's get to work. So I thought about it later on that day. That whole day I thought about it, and I thought it was weird that, as crazy as all that sounded, it is weird that the one thing that we all agree on, every culture, every race, we can't agree on shit. Politics, religion, nothing. But we all agree that gold is like worth more than money. Like gold is the universal money. And I thought that was weird. I go, And then I thought about how the Aztecs thought Cortez was a god, and they gave him gold. And then the people, the pharaohs that die and they get buried with gold. I'm like thinking about this. I'm like, this. And I called Gina up. I'm like, Gina, what was this guy's name? Do you have his number? He goes, yeah, it was Jody or some guy. I think his name was Jody. So I called this guy. I go, hey, I'm Gina's friend. He goes, what? You were talking about some gold and some slaves and aliens? What the fuck was that about? And he didn't even really know. He said, you know what? Yeah, I was talking about that. Some guy told me. It was the weirdest thing. I think his name is Sichin or Sachin or something, Sitchin or something. So I looked it up. And I just got on the internet and I looked up Sitchin, started getting into it, and it blew me away. It's pretty fascinating shit. As crazy as all that sounds, if you really look into it, basically it's this. Zachariah Sitchin is this guy that transcribed the ancient Sumerian texts. There are like 20,000 tablets of all these stories and all this shit. Who knows what they really say, because very few people can actually transcribe it. Some people think Zachariah Sitchin is crazy and he's just making shit up. A lot of people believe him. I mean, he's got this. I mean, a lot of smart people.
Well, the interesting shit that he uncovers and shows in his videos that's just indisputable is the images that the Sumerians left behind. That's where it gets really crazy, because there's images of a big giant person with a small person. It's a person, but it has a tail like a monkey. And you're like, what the fuck is that? They have the double helix, the DNA double helix is their caduceus. They have that in their images.
What if it was just like a thespian guy that walked around the tribe, that's dressed up as a cat and somebody drew it?
Oh,
you know
dude,
what I mean?
It could be. It could be. But here's the other thing. They also had a detailed depiction of the solar system. They had a picture of the sun, and then they had a picture of the planets with the proper size in the proper orbit. And on top of that, their whole history, there's in the Sumerian text, it talks about the different planets. It talks about Uranus, and it talks about Neptune. It talks about the creation of Earth. They have the exact same theory that we have as far as the creation of the moon. The theory is that Earth 1, there was an Earth that was like billions of years ago, got hit with a planet and created the moon. And now we are Earth 2. Post-impact. Now, this is like something that scientists have just recently embraced over the past few decades, but Sitchin wrote about this shit way back in the 70s. I mean, this was what the Sumerians said. The guy, if you watch his documentaries and you listen to Sitchin talk and get his shit online, it is fucking fascinating. And I'm not saying that, some aliens made us as a race of slaves, but I am saying that the world is so crazy as it is. The fact that we can send photographs to people and you can get video downloaded from your phone, and you could basically answer any question immediately by pressing, Google Talk or the Google thing where you talk into it and you say, what year did Columbus sail, blah, blah, blah. And it'll give you the information like instantly. This has never happened before, man. This is crazy shit, and it's only going to get crazier. Now, if we lived 100,000 years longer and stayed alive and managed to keep evolving, for sure we would get to the point we would be able to travel to other fucking planets and find other species that we thought weren't advanced enough and fuck with them. If we decide at a certain point in time, with all this investigation that we're doing into life, like what they're doing right now with synthetic cells, where they are creating cells and eventually creating living organisms. This is all really going to happen. If we get to the point where we realize that life itself is just a code that we can manipulate and change to our will, well, when that happens, man, you're not going to think anything's wrong with taking some monkeys and making them smarter and having them work for you. You know, and if there's a super intelligent being or a race of beings that's thousands of years advanced from us, or millions, or perhaps even a billion, you know, what if they live in a protected solar system where they don't have to worry about asteroids? What if the asteroid impact is not a common thing? What if, you know, all this shit that happens in our solar system is kind of rare, and in other solar systems they don't have meteor problems? I mean, if that's the case, if that's true, they could be a billion years older than us. We don't fucking know. We have no idea.
Yeah, basically, Sitchin was one of very few people, again, that transcribed over 20,000 tablets. And in these tablets were all, like, in detailed descriptions of how they came down, the names of the rulers, the South American ones, the real technical shit about how it all went down. He transcribed all that shit in the 70s, and he put all this information out. All this information that he's saying that he wasn't making it up. He was just transcribing all these stories. And a lot of people, you know, his doubters were like, well, he's full of shit. How could he know this and how could he know that? But the few things that he did know in the 70s that we're just figuring out now, one, in his transcriptions, he talked about how the Sumerians knew that Uranus and Neptune were both water twins. And we just found that out in the 80s, that they actually are water twins. That was new. How the hell did Sitchin know this? Another thing is, Sitchin, the basis of the story is aliens need they're like human. They look just like us. They're supposedly. And maybe taller or whatever. But
I heard they're way better looking than us.
They need our gold to turn into gold dust to suspend in their atmosphere to protect their atmosphere. That's what they need.
To protect them from radiation.
Yes,
right?
That's what he's talking about in the 70s in the transcriptions. He's not an astrophysicist. We just found out, like in 2001, 2002, that that's exactly how you protect atmospheres. You take metallic particles and you suspend them in the atmosphere to, you know, either keep radiation in or out. We just figured that out. How the hell did this guy figure out and he's saying, well, he didn't know. He transcribed. Did he just guess that that's the way we protect atmospheres? He already talked about that. There's a lot of, he gets into detail.
There's a lot of shit that makes it like, wow. There's a lot. There's a lot to it.
It sounds crazy, and we don't have all day to talk about it, but have an open mind. It's fascinating stuff. I thought it was totally insane, too.
The thing,
look into it.
There's a bunch of debate about this planet, Nibiru, and there's a guy who's got a website called Sitchin is Wrong, and his website is sitchiniswrong.com, and this guy does not believe that there's this planet, you know, this Nibiru, and he has the quotes to the text. It's really involved, and I haven't really looked into it. I don't know who the fuck is right and who's wrong. I really don't. But I do know that just all the shit that came out of that one area is really fascinating. And when you find out that one part of the world is responsible for the first mathematics, the first astronomy, first astrology, first written language, first use of the wheel, first everything, first agriculture.
It was Iraq. It's Iraq.
It's Iraq, yeah.
Crazy.
So the other day I was watching Ancient Aliens. I spent like a whole hour just tweeting, talking shit on Ancient Aliens. That show,
yeah, the new season,
so bad.
Well, the first season was incredible. The first season's awesome.
They ran out of shit to talk about.
Yeah, they're trying to, you know, it was crazy all the shit they were saying, but if you look at it this way, if you don't believe in UFOs, then that sounds ridiculous. But if you do believe, if you like watch the Disclosure Project and you listen to all of Philip Corso's testimony, the guy who used to work for used to be in the Pentagon and fucking head of nuclear energy in Europe and all that shit. When you hear his confessions and like the deathbed confession of General Ramey and just if you believe in UFOs, then fucking anything is possible. Then that means they must have been here several times at least, and if they were around during the Greek time, they must have tripped out on them. That must have been a big news, like these motherfuckers, and they must have like talked, drew about. I mean, painted about it, talked about it, wrote some scripture about it or something. It's not that far fetched, but they were coming to some like ridiculous conclusions, like about like the paintings in India that maybe this was an alien.
Well, the Mahabharata, that's a fascinating text. The ancient text of ancient Hinduism is riddled with stories of flying things and things that flew through the air. But you also have to realize that these people took a lot of drugs. These people were into heavy psychedelic drugs. I mean, mana in the ancient Hindu text, they believe it's some sort of a combination of psilocybin mushrooms and a bunch of other different things. There's a bunch of debate about what mana is, but it's very clear that they were referencing something that connected them to the psychedelic world. And if it was something that connected them to the psychedelic world, and I know, you're going to see some shit. It doesn't mean that the shit you're seeing is not real. When you see, when people think of hallucinations, like you think of, you took a drug and you saw a monkey that wasn't really there, and you think of something fake. But what you see a lot of times when you take psychedelic drugs is not like the rest of the world and then all of a sudden some new fake thing shows up. It shows you like a whole new world. It shows you like a whole hallucination world, which may or may not be real. What might be happening when you take like big doses of any crazy drug is you might be tuning into the next door neighbor channel. The whole world might be a fucking radio of a million different channels, and we might be on, 106.4, and there's a 106.5, and it's right next door. And when you take mushrooms, you go there. These guys saying that they, saw these flying things and talking about all these majestic beings with all this wisdom, that very easily could have been drugs. Very easily.
Yeah, it could be both. I mean, just because you have a psychedelic experience doesn't mean that. I don't know how much I believe. Very skeptical about crafts from another planet that come here that are metal, and the traditional idea of just doing a super advanced version of what we already do. I look at that and I go, I don't think so. This just seems too silly. It seems too mechanical. A lot of testimony, dude.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. There's a lot of testimony of people being raped by demons. You can go back in time and find thousands of people who've been exorcised.
Yeah, but these people
Witch trials.
These people aren't organizing and getting in front of the Washington, D.C. and the national press, and they don't have credible witness, like hundreds of them, and Philip Corso and all these guys that, in their deathbed. Like, you watch the testimony, it's like, do you think these guys are lying?
Okay, well, it's different. That's true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are telling the truth. It might mean they're wrong. It might mean that there's some crazy government experiments that they're not aware
For sure,
of.
I believe in that. I believe there's definitely a lot of the shit, maybe most of the shit that people see and report are our own government making shit. But if you listen to Philip Corso testimony, he's saying, yes, a lot of that shit is our shit.
Did Philip Corso say that he saw things himself personally?
Exactly. Yes, he did.
What did he say he saw?
Philip Corso was...
He was part of Roswell, right?
He wasn't at Roswell, but he was involved in the shipping of stuff. He said he saw the bodies. He said that he was in charge.
Physically saw them or saw the coffins?
No, he saw them. He said he opened the coffin, saw them, and said, oh, shit. And he knew so much that he was in charge of taking crashed UFO shit and taking it to, this is what he said, taking it to Hughes Aircraft and McDonnell Douglas, getting reverse engineering.
Well, the fascinating story about Roswell, and everybody thinks that Roswell is a silly, stupid story, and no one knows exactly what happened. It could have been some sort of a Soviet craft that crashed. But the fascinating part is that they flew the wreckage in two separate planes because they wanted to make sure if one plane crashed, they had a good chance that the other plane would make it to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. They made sure they separated the wreckage.
There's just so much evidence, even today with the Shanghai airport, or airport in China. Closed down twice within a few months because there was some shit right over the airport. They didn't know what it was. They shut everything down. I mean, just shit like that all over the world. I mean, there's actually is evidence. I mean, people are put away for life with no video, no pictures of the crime, just testimony. Man, they're just listening to testimony and putting people away for multiple life sentences. When you put all the evidence together, just look up Philip Corso with a C. There's hours and hours of him just talking about it. He wrote a book about it before he was the old motherfucker. He was on Dateline and shit.
I think an even more compelling one is Dr. J. Allen Hynek.
Exactly.
who was working on Project Blue Book, and he was assigned to discredit UFO stories. What his job was, as he explained it, was when he would hear about something, he would come up with a reason that it was something else.
Swamp gas
Yeah,
and all
swamp
that.
gas,
Yeah.
circular ball lightning, all this different
He
shit.
was hired for that by the government, like in the 50s and 60s.
And then when Project Blue Book shut down, he dedicated his entire life to investigating UFOs and enlightening people on it.
Totally. And he talks about it. I mean, there's interviews. He's like, and then there's like a new theory now. The new theory is that the government wants everyone to believe in UFOs to keep their projects under wrap, like their black projects under wrap. I'm like, then what was this Project Blue Book and all this stuff where they were saying that it was swamp gas? They were trying to calm everybody down. Why were they lying? I mean, they would have just said, yeah, you know what? We don't know what it is. It's probably from another galaxy, but we don't know. But we assure you we're going to do whatever it takes to protect you. If they really wanted people to believe in the UFOs, they would be saying that shit, not covering it up. So, I mean, if you look at the Philip Corso testimony, look up the Disclosure Project. There's already been at least 2 of them. I mean, there's so much credible, and like the top scientists of Europe all got together. I forget what the committee's called, like international groups. They came together in France and they looked at all the UFO testimony and all the shit, and they said 15% it's probably beings from another galaxy or another solar system. That's what they said. All of them could have been explained away, but the 15%, they said, this is probably
That's a weird conclusion, though.
Yeah.
Why would they not conclude that it was something from this Earth that we haven't discovered yet?
They-
Especially when you look at the ocean.
Well, that's what they concluded. They concluded that all the other shit, 85% of all the shit, they're like, that could be man-made, that could be this is probably some reflection off the sun. 15%, they said it's most likely, because based on the pictures and the way they got some shit from like satellite pictures of craft coming from the top down that they couldn't explain. They're like, man, what the fuck is moving? You know, there's
I've
so
seen
much
some
shit.
weird shit of things moving and then changing angles and changing direction and moving another way.
The big incident that happened at the U.S. military installation in the UK, when there's 80 motherfuckers that saw this aircraft, 3 of them came up to it as it was parked. They touched it. They took notes. They're in the Disclosure Project. 3 of them went up to it, and 80 of them were all around going, holy shit.
But that's possible that it was a drone. That's possible that it was something from America.
And when they said it took off, it disappeared. It was gone.
Well,
I mean, they said,
if you have a drone, I mean, especially if we're talking about different alternative sources of power, we don't know exactly.
none of those
what they figured out.
motherfuckers, and it came back. They sent a guy to look into it, and that guy's in the Disclosure Project too. Like 2 days later, they sent the guy to calm everyone down, and they came back and they saw it, and these guys are all, when the military, the UK embassy, the Ministry of Defense, they came up to him and asked him, what are we going to do about this? What was that? They go, if it doesn't concern national security, we're not getting involved. If it doesn't secure, and we feel that it doesn't.
Okay, but here's the problem with this whole story. Okay, you weren't there, I wasn't there. We're just talking about what we heard people talking about. We don't know exactly what went down. And until you talk to these people, you don't know how many of them are full of shit, how many of them are exaggerating, how many of them were traumatized.
That's why I say, based on the shit that you see, if you actually look into it and then you make the judgment, you're making the judgment. Damn. You know, if you haven't seen the testimony, then we don't know what he said, or
it doesn't. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. It's all on testimony. When you're basing it on testimony, you don't know anything about these people. You never know how much of it you're getting square.
If 80, and this is what they said too. They said the response to the British Ministry of Defense saying if it doesn't concern national security, we're not going to get involved. Then 80 people fucking hallucinated then. And they got 80 people. 80 people that are full of shit. They got 80 people.
It means neither. That's not true. If it means that 80 people were not aware of what they were looking at, that's all it means. If
military people,
craft,
they're trained to observe. They're in the military.
It doesn't mean anything. If the military people that are in the know, the people that are there at the scene of the crime or the scene of the landing, if they're not aware of the technology that's available to the highest levels of government, they're not aware of whatever experimental shit they're working on, it might as well be from another planet. So what are they going to say? If they don't know about it,
of course, nobody knows. Nobody was there. But to make a judgment based on the testimony, you can totally not believe it and go, you know what? I don't believe these guys. Or you could look at it and say, I'm going to look at it with an open mind. Fuck, 80 dudes that are trained observers. 3 went up to it and touched it. They're saying it's out of this fucking world. Definitely. They're saying it. That's what they're in the military. The British Ministry of Defense is fucking not even looking into it at all. I mean,
dude,
the conclusion.
I hear you, but it's still a bunch of people's testimony about something they saw.
And then
they might not have known what they were seeing.
And then you add all the shit around. That's just one incident. Then you look at all of it, you connect all the dots, and then you know you can make a decision. And my decision, is that there's some shit going on. That's how I feel based on
my
all that.
decision is not that at all. My decision is there's a lot of people with a lot of stories, and we know for a fact that there are a fuckload of experimental government aircrafts that they use, whether they're manned or whether they're remote control, and you know all these people are just telling their version of a story, something that they saw. I believe that they saw something. I do not believe that they know it was from another world. So them even saying it was from another world, people want shit to be romantic. They want shit to be little gray men that come here in spaceships from Palladias, wherever the fuck they're coming from in the galaxy. They want that. They look for that shit. Fall in love.
No, that's all true what you're saying, but you don't believe that there's UFOs?
What does this believe, man?
You either believe or you don't believe.
That's not true. That is
believe
not
it.
true. That is not true. You do not have to believe
so
that
you're right in
something
the
is
middle.
real or something's not real. You just go, I don't know, because that's the only rational explanation.
Yeah, but
you can't say you believe, because when you believe, you throw everything else out the door. You say, well, I believe there are UFOs. I believe that aliens have landed here. I don't believe that. I don't believe we know. I don't believe that we're absolutely convinced, and I don't believe.
So
that
you believe
here,
believe that Philip Corso was a crazy man and he was full of shit?
What are you doing? Adding words to what I'm saying?
No, I'm
What
just
are you
saying
doing? That's like 12-year-old shit.
Based on what you saw from Philip Corso.
I believe he's out there sucking cock and taking it in the ass, and he's doing drugs, and he didn't even know what he was saying. How about that? Is that better?
I'm just trying
Philip
to
Corso's just a guy, man. I mean, he's a guy that said he saw some bodies, and he's a guy that used to work for the military. Is he credible?
for
Is
the
he
Pentagon.
interesting?
He was
Yes.
the head of nuclear energy in Europe.
Okay, George Bush was the president. He's an idiot. Does it matter? Does it matter like how high he got up there? It's very clear to me that the entire government is riddled with fucking idiots. There's idiots all over the place. Was he an idiot? I don't think so. He seemed like an interesting guy. Did he see some shit? I don't know. What did he see in those bodies? What were they? Who the fuck knows? They might have been mutants. They might have been fucking radiation disasters. They might have been little children that had a disease. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how much he saw it. I don't know how close he got to it. I don't know, how much information he was really truly privy to.
Do you think OJ's guilty?
I don't know if OJ's guilty. I would assume he is. There's a lot of evidence.
Okay.
2 dead people, knives, blood in his car. That's a little different than some dude who says he saw UFOs and doesn't know what it is.
So why did they let him free?
What the fuck are we talking about OJ for, man? That's silly.
Well, we're talking about evidence and testimony and all that stuff. That's what we're talking about.
Because
We're having
the
a
jury
debate.
system's fucked up. That's why. Because black people thought that it was one on their side, that they were going to release him, and if it did not fit, you must acquit, and they wanted to get back at the Rodney King verdict, and so they released him. That's why. It has nothing to do with UFOs.
You guys are like a couple that broke up that have to live together.
You have to be careful. You have to be careful when you start talking about things that you haven't seen yourself. This is just my opinion.
I'm the same way with you. I don't, even if it was the most evidence ever, unless I knew for a fact, I saw it with my own eyes. There's
too much bullshit.
I don't follow anything. Why stress out about it?
There's too much bullshit. There's too many people who are full of shit. Too many people exaggerate. Too many people twist the truth. And there's a big business in talking about UFOs. And that's another thing to be careful of. There's a gigantic business in writing books about this shit and doing lectures and seminars. And these guys make a fucking good living traveling the country, selling books and talking about UFOs. Whenever you involve commerce in a very strange discussion, like the discussion of the potential reality of intelligent life from other planets, whenever you involve money in that and money in the stories, I mean, then it becomes like sort of a faction of show business. I mean, Whitley Strieber is one of the fucking biggest proponents of the alien abduction story and, wrote books on it, Communion, and had movies made about it. And that guy is a fucking book writer. He writes books. He makes fiction. He makes fiction, and he created this whole thing about getting abducted by UFOs, and everybody took it as fact. And man, who the fuck knows if it's fact? You got a guy who's a professional fiction man, and you don't know. You don't know what's going on in his head. There's no evidence. It's like there may be UFOs. Absolutely, there may be. There may be intelligent life from other planets. Absolutely, there may be. But you can't just jump on yes. Because you jump on yes.
Did I just jump on yes?
You jumped on yes.
I didn't jump on yes.
You said
you know how much research I'm obsessed with UFOs. I do a lot. I didn't just jump on it. I listened to a lot of testimony.
You said you believe.
I didn't just jump. But I didn't just jump on it. Like you're making it seem like,
but you weren't.
Like I heard one testimony and then
that's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm saying, look, if you listen to what I said was that unless you're experiencing it yourself, you don't know exactly what happened. When you're talking about people that are talking about crafts that they think were from another world, you don't know where it really came from, and that gets very, very tricky. And if you choose to believe or not to believe, you're jumping on one side or another. If you're saying I don't think there's UFOs, I think everyone's full of shit, you're jumping on no. And if you say, I believe they're here, you're jumping on yes. Even if there's a lot of what you think is evidence, unless you're seeing it yourself, unless it has been proven, which it clearly hasn't, it's clearly up for debate. Even though there's a bunch of people that come forward, whether there's 100 or 1,000, and they have crazy stories about things that move too fast, who the fuck knows what that is? Who knows?
Okay. You don't believe in UFOs?
Wow. Wow. Dude, are you kidding? You're kidding? You're kidding, right?
I'm not kidding.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I don't believe in UFOs.
Okay.
What
You're saying you don't know.
No one knows. None of us know, man. You don't.
No. That's what I'm saying. Believe when you believe something, it's not like you know for like based on the evidence. I believe there's some shit going on with other galaxies and other. That's what I believe.
It's possible that there's life on other planets. It's certainly possible. It's also possible that life is a dream. It's also possible that your life is imagination and you've made it all up. And I'm a figment of your imagination. And each player is in your life to provide you with some information and try to help you and move you along in a certain way. It's very possible that this life is not even real. It's very possible that I'm in your imagination and you're in mine and we self-create. There's a lot of different possibilities, man.
It's possible.
But whether or not there's UFOs because some people that you don't know, who you've never met, saw some things that you never saw and said they wrote it down and had conferences and discussions about it, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Do you guys like sweet potato fries?
It's a tricky thing, man. We attach ourselves to what we believe in. And you obviously are getting attached to this idea of UFOs being real because you've spent so much time and invested so much time being fascinated by it.
I'm not just fascinated with it. I'm fascinated with the testimony and of putting it all together.
I am too.
You're making it sound like I'm like mystically.
No, I'm not, man. I'm not making it sound like that. I am saying exactly what you're saying. But what I am fascinated by people, and I know that people are full of shit. And I'm not assuming that all these people are pious. I'm not assuming that all these people are completely honest and without ulterior motive and telling exactly the, as they saw it, the truth. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a bunch of believers, and that's the problem. Even if you saw something fucking completely insane, I don't want you telling me you know what it is. I don't want you describing it that way. I want you saying, I don't know what it was. I want you to say, I think, it could have been some sort of a craft that I'm not aware of. It could be some
That's what UFO means, man. Unidentified flying object.
No, you're not saying UFO. You're saying aliens, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm not saying aliens. I'm saying unknown.
Okay.
And when someone says they know and they start talking about it being from another planet, bitch, do you have like some fucking serial numbers you can track back to this planet? Like, how do you know where it came from? You don't know shit. They're just taking a guess. They see something in the sky. I can't build it. Must be from space. I mean, it's that simple.
It's not that simple, man. Like, I can't do it. I could be. It's not that simple.
It is that simple if you want to claim you know where it came from.
Man, okay.
You can't know. You can't know. No one's saying they know. If you don't know, if you haven't seen it, you don't know where it came from, you haven't watched the video of it fucking flying off that planet and landing here, then there's a lot of fucking guesswork. It's a romantic idea. The idea seems so cool. The idea that there's fucking aliens, it's tricky because you get sucked into it. Like, it seems so awesome. So does the Loch Ness Monster. It's like we have this built-in shit in our head.
It's
to
nothing
look for
like the Loch Ness
things.
Monster, man. The Loch Ness Monster's like, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot is a real animal.
Beef.
What's the worst conspiracy theory? Like the worst one?
Flat Earth. There's people that
No,
believe
no,
the
no.
Earth is
but,
flat.
You know, when you talk science, the smartest motherfuckers that have ever lived were the Nazi scientists. They invented missiles. They were so far ahead of everyone else in science and technology.
Das ist gut.
You know what I'm saying? Like when they went down, Russians raced in and took half their scientists. The Americans took the other scientists.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know that our space program is based entirely on Nazi science.
They were the smartest motherfuckers.
Yeah, Werner von Braun.
And they were down. I mean, according to ancient aliens, I don't know if. According to ancient aliens,
That
they
is
said,
maybe the worst reference you could ever say. It's like, according to Wikipedia, you are a
Aren't you
fucking
gonna-
Skull
aren't
and
you
Bones
gonna have
member.
that dude on your show?
Yeah. I'm very excited
Be
about
nice
it.
to him.
No, I am being nice. He's a nice guy. I like the guy.
Well, you just said
but
that's the worst. That's the
you
worst.
can't because it's a show. It's an entertainment show. I mean, he talks about Atlantis maybe being a spaceship that flew off in the sky. Of
course
maybe
it was.
maybe it's a rabbit and it ate a giant magical carrot and that created
Did
the
you
end
see
of
the
the
episode
Atlantean
about
Empire.
the Nazis, though?
Yes, I did. It was fascinating. It was fascinating the actual facts of what the Nazis were into. And a lot of what they were into is like ancient Hindu scriptures, like the Vimanas. They studied all these, Vimanas were like these flying things in ancient Hindu scriptures that from thousands and thousands of years ago, these flying ships that people have always tried to interpret. Like, what the fuck did they mean by this? And the Nazi scientists were fascinated by all that stuff. They were very much into the occult and very much into, the idea of ancient knowledge. And you could throw that aside and say they were silly if it wasn't for the incredible technological capabilities that they had back then. BMW, they made engines for Nazis, man. I mean, Volkswagen, that's the car for the people. There was so much. They made incredible rockets. Their rocketry was so far ahead of anything in the rest of the world. They were the innovators when it comes to the field of rocketry and space travel.
How about Werner von Braun?
Yeah.
Werner von Braun and Hermann Oberth are both quoted as saying all that technology came from help from beings from another solar system. That they were channeling information.
Yeah.
To build UFOs. They built 4 different models of UFOs, and they're saying they were getting the information, anti-gravity information, by the Vril Society, which Hitler was a part of, and they were running the Nazis, the Vril Society, and it was all based on channeling from another solar system. There were this chick, I forget her name, Maria Ostich, was the head medium, and she was channeling ancient Sumerian text. And then they'd bring in a dude who can transcribe it. She had no idea what she was writing. It was an ancient Sumerian text. And it was instructions on how to build UFOs. They built 4 of them. It's on record. Hanabu 1, Hanabu 2, Hanabu 3. They built UFOs. And they're saying...
I mean, they built spaceships.
They built UFOs.
Well, UFOs are unidentified.
Yeah, they built anti-gravity. So a lot of the sightings in the 40s and 50s and probably even to today are all based, or not all, but I'm sure a lot of them were German UFOs.
Right, but when they say that they built something that's anti-gravity, that can't really be proven because we can't do anti-gravity today.
Right.
So because we can't do anti-gravity, we don't have a working model that they actually had that we could fly around in. A lot of that is speculation. But we do know that they were coming up with some weird-shaped aircrafts. I mean, there's some photos of them with these saucer-looking Nazi ships, like actual undisputable photos.
But they didn't fly.
Who knows?
I can make a spaceship.
Well,
Well, who knows if they flew or not? I don't know. Do you know that they didn't fly?
No,
For sure?
but I'm not saying they did fly. I mean, back then, I
they
really
had 4
doubt.
models. They had 4 models.
Well, they had planes, man. I mean, they could make one of those fucking things fly,
Yeah, but they're-
which is like just a jet engine.
Right.
I don't know if it would, obviously, if it would be any good. I mean, it might suck. Maybe that's why they stopped using it. There's a funny picture online of Adolf Hitler with an alien.
I think he's just
He's standing there.
misunderstood.
Adolf Hitler, dude, don't even say shit like that on my podcast,
kidding.
bitch.
Just
Didn't you pay
kidding. I was
attention
talking
to see
about
what,
Charlie
what happened to
Chaplin.
fucking Tracy Morgan?
I was talking about Charlie Chaplin.
There's all these weird photos of these things that the Nazis built, man. I don't know how many of these photos are hoaxes and how many of them are legit, but it's pretty fascinating, man.
It's, to me, the most fascinating part is that they were using mediums to channel aliens from another
Brett, but
solar
how do
system.
we know that that's true? Is
Ask-
that an
ask-
ancient aliens thing?
And you could
You know, it was probably the
do
U.S. government. Yes.
Type in the Vril
What are
Society.
you doing?
what am I looking for? The what
the
society?
Vril Society.
Spell that?
VRIL.
society.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if maybe they were just really dumb. Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're talking to aliens, but they were really talking to our government, and we're like, oh yeah.
Well, you know, you
we're
can
from outer
you can
space.
poo-poo all you want the idea of secret societies, but the bottom line is almost every single fucking president has been a part of one of those fucking things in high school or in college.
Skull
Rather.
Bones.
Look at the Vril
Yeah, that
Society.
skull and bones shit is so disturbing that these people get together in college and decide to run shit based on, you know, this bond that they make when they're in college. But it completely makes sense if you pay attention to how people operate, man. Especially if you could, I mean, the best way to keep something secret, really keep something secret, is to have a bunch of people who belong to some exclusive group and they won't rat anything out.
Does Bob Lazar have a Twitter? Wouldn't that be cool to have him on your
He
show?
does. I think he's full of shit.
He might be.
He
He
knows a
probably is.
lot. He knows a lot, and he's fascinating. But I almost wonder if that guy's working for the government, if he's a disinformation agent, because he lied about like going to MIT. He lied
Yeah,
about shit
he had-
that's like really traceable. You know,
But then he says that the government, you know,
hit his records.
Yeah,
but that's
and all
not
that
true because they found school books from people who went to school with him, supposedly, that were in those classes. There's no Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
There's old versions of the. I mean, unless they went back in time and altered, you know, every single one of the.
Yeah, come on.
yearbooks.
They're not, the government's not going to do that.
Yeah, you have to
They
find
would get
people.
caught
But
so
you know what? He
easily.
didn't say anything
Stupid.
like that crazy. He said
course
that he
he
was
did.
like he said he saw like that could have easily. We already know that there's like German UFOs. It was probably some American one that he saw. You know, and it doesn't mean it was alien. It could be like some U.S. Air Force UFO. That
That's
he
not
saw,
what he's
you know?
saying, though. What he's saying is absolutely alien. And the way when they were hired to back engineer it.
Yeah.
You know, his whole story is, if you don't know who Robert Lazar is, Robert Lazar is a guy who claimed to have worked for Area 51. His story is he had this job there. He became fascinated. He was a scientist, and they started helping him. He started helping them work with their aliens. They had these alien spacecraft that they had, and they were trying to reconstruct them. But while this all was going on, they have to know everything you're doing, so they monitor all your phone calls. And they found out that his wife was cheating on him. And so they're like, oh, this motherfucker's going to be emotionally unstable. We got to kick him out of the program because he's got turmoil in his life. So they fired him abruptly. He didn't understand why. They wouldn't explain to him why. They fired him. And so the guy started bringing his friends around to watch the UFOs get launched. And that's when he got arrested. And that's when he started telling his story. You know, he started telling his story about how he worked there and they hired him to back engine. It sounds awesome when you listen to him talk.
Yeah, and when he breaks down science
Yeah.
and all these equations and
It's
shit.
amazing.
I mean, man, he's an amazing liar. If he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, but he's going off with it, he's saying some incredible shit about anti-gravity and all this crazy shit.
It almost makes me think that he's a plant and that he's like was hired to do this because it makes UFOs look silly. Because when you look into the guy and he says all these fantastic things, and then you find out that he actually never really went to MIT and he lied about his past, and you know they can't find any record of him anywhere, and maybe he worked at Los Alamos for, like, you know, who the fuck knows what he did there, but he wasn't involved in any Area 51 bullshit. You know, this is of course obviously what the government says, but it makes him look ridiculous. It makes him look silly if he lied about where he went to school. And so maybe if you wanted to end speculation about, you know, any particular area, whether or not UFOs were there, you have some guy tell some crazy story about it and then make sure that he's full of shit. Make sure he's full of shit about other things.
Yeah.
And so people investigate. When a fantastical story, they have to investigate. You know, and they investigate and they find out that he's full of shit, and it makes the whole thing seem silly. But we know for a fact they definitely test weapons there. And there's videos that people have shot back before they extended the range of where it's you're prohibited to travel. You used to be able to get much closer to Area 51, but people would go to this certain ridge and they would film all these different things flying through the air, like these fucking crazy things taking all these right angle turns in the middle of the sky. And what most people think is that that's where they were initially practicing with drones, and that those things that were glowing in the sky, the reason why they look like UFOs is like this is the reason why they move so haphazardly through the sky. These were all radio controlled, and they really didn't have it down yet. And we know now they have drones down to a fucking science. You know, and now the drone technology has gotten to the point. Yeah, they killed that guy, that American-born
Killed
terrorist.
a couple of them, I guess.
Yeah,
But
well,
can
a lot of
the drones
civilians too, I'm sure.
drones move like those lights did that they captured?
I don't know. I don't know.
They seem to be.
I don't think so.
They seem to be just like model airplanes.
Yeah,
almost.
those are just model
Yeah,
airplanes.
so I don't know about the drone theory.
You got to think about what these drones are for. These drones are carrying missiles. They just the weight alone. If you have something that it's in, you know, like say if you have something and it's you're flying around some magnetic device, some new next level anti-gravity fucking ball of steel, and we figured out how to pilot this thing, but it's not that accurate. It works on magnetic waves and it's all fucking nutty, but it glows and it flies all around. There's no one in it, so it can take crazy G-force turns in the sky. It's very possible that that's a completely different thing, but that they learn from that and they apply specific, things that they learn from that into these other drones they make. But the other drones that they make are often, they're just based on, artificially powered planes, which they've had forever. And that was the part of Operation Northwoods. They were going to blow up a drone plane. They already had the ability to launch a fucking plane into the sky just using, remote control.
The whole crazy thing about the 10th planet, or Nibiru, that planet, is that who knows if it's out there really or not, who knows. But the way people react to that theory is that there's trillions and trillions and trillions of stars and planets every fucking where. But if you believe there's a fucking another planet out there, you're fucking crazy.
Well, the real problem with the Nibiru theory is that it comes in between Mars and Jupiter every 3,600 years. That's the problem, is that we have depictions of shit that happened 3,600 years ago. It's not that reliable, but you're talking you would have to go to like 1000 BC. I think that if a planet came around and filled the sky, there would probably be a lot of stories about it. And there's no stories about no planet. Doesn't mean it didn't happen and didn't fuck people up.
Yeah, who knows if it happened or not? But that reaction, like it's so crazy, like it's so magical that there's another planet out there. That's how the Anunnaki. That's how they protected their atmosphere by
How fun is it to get high and talk about the Anunnaki? I mean, I don't know if the Anunnaki was real or not, but goddamn, would it be fun if they were real? But it would so suck if they were real. If it turned out that we weren't the apex of the biological life of the universe, if we're not the top of the heap, we're fucked, man. Because someone's going to treat us the way we treat everything else. Yeah. So if the Anunnaki are real, you should really hope they're not real. You should hope that we become the Anunnaki. You should hope that the Philip Corso Jr. version is the best version. The fact that it's a time machine and we're going to become that in the future. That seems to me to make more sense.
There's probably... Who knows, man? When it comes to UFOs, like every day now, in the science community, in astrophysics, we're finding you get all this information coming out that there's all these new Earths that they're predicting. There's just Earths everywhere, and there's life teeming in our galaxy everywhere. Like there's on the daily, they're finding evidence like, holy shit, there's probably 1 billion fucking Earths in our galaxy or some shit.
Yeah, there probably is. It's pretty crazy when you start to think about the possibilities.
The possibilities are endless. They're really could
and that life seeds from other planets getting hit by asteroids, and it's all a natural part of the process.
Dude, think about this. If there's 1 million Earths in this guy, let's just say 1 million, how many of those Earths are ahead of us in technology? I'm sure there's some that are like not as far as we've come, but there's just the odds. You look at like a scientist, there's 1 million, right? That you would say, let's just say 1,000 are way ahead of us. God damn it, that's 1,000 races. 1,000 races. There must be a Galactic Federation. There must be.
I think maybe we get to be like a little bit smarter than this, and then we just blow shit up over and over again. I think that's what we do.
There's a possibility. You know what? There's a possibility that out of all the Earths and all the human-like creatures within
the front of the line,
like maybe 70% of them don't make it. Like in the Roman times, there was a 50% mortality rate. When you have a kid, there's there's 50% chance that it's going to die.
Right.
In Roman times. So maybe it's like that. Maybe there's 50% chance that we get to a point and we just blow ourselves up because corruption takes over and evil just takes over. And then there's a small percentage, maybe it's like 10%, 20% of all these Earth-like planets that actually get past that, and we all connect, and we're all living as
like,
one.
have you seen that when they have like a Category 1 society, Level 1 society, Level 2? That I think Michio Kaku has done this, like explaining the different levels of societies that can get to a point where they get away from physical violence, then they can harness the power of the stars, then space travel and all sorts of different categories, and that we're like on the verge of becoming significant.
There's I personally believe, just based on just basic odds, that there is a Galactic Federation, and maybe we are we don't know about it. Maybe the elite know about it, and they're communicating with them, but the people, we don't want the people to know.
Details of the alleged Roswell craft are talked about at length. Of particular interest was information about the so-called extraterrestrial biological entities, which contained 2 brains. One was organic and thought to control the beings, and the other one was laced with crystal electronics that's still not understood to this day, which was thought to connect the beings with the craft through time. It is purported that these beings are essentially artificial intelligence from our own future, and that their crash caused a bifurcation of our timelines and altered our history. The most mind-boggling aspect of this story and the theory that the Air Force, etc., are operating under is that as a result of this timeline split and the subsequent advancement in technology from reverse engineering, that we, or the military, are now on a timeline of technological evolution that will eventually create the very same craft and beings that actually crashed in Roswell in 1947. Whoa.
That's some insane shit.
Could you imagine? That's incredible. I mean, it sounds completely ridiculous, and I'm sure this guy's nuts out of his fucking head, but if he wasn't, let's just say, to settle out all the skeptics and the people that would be critical of this idea, imagine if that is how it works. I mean, we're working so hard right now, not we, not you, not I, but scientists are, to figure out all kinds of crazy things that are going to alter the very way we interact with the universe. Look what the fuck's going on with this Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
Look at this quark gluon plasma that they've created. That's like the most dense thing. Like, it's some insane amount, like a sugar cube weighs like 40 billion pounds or something crazy. I mean, they're doing some nutty shit.
They actually are working on a time machine right now. I think they could send photons back like seconds at a time or something like that, but they have been working on it for 20 years. I mean, a time machine is something that they're actually working on. There's scientists working on it. They're going to start with photons and maybe 5 minutes in the future or whatever. They know time travel is possible. Einstein said it was possible. I mean, based on the speed of light. I think it was
Kurt Gödel who came up with it. I remember reading about it, who was a mathematician. But you needed something like an object the size of the solar system, and it had to be going backwards fucking faster than the speed of light. There's like a lot of weird shit that had to
something
go
with the
on.
speed of light. Something
It transverse its axle.
If you travel out in space at the speed of light, and then like for a week, and then come back at the speed of light, for something like that, that you're going to come back to a planet that's like 500 years older.
Yeah, that is weird. How crazy is that? Some guy asked me the other day if I wanted to have someone who's a flat Earth proponent. Is apparently the best arguer for a flat Earth.
Come on, I want to hear that. I want to hear that argument. What can they possibly say?
There's no fucking way. They're either trolling or retarded.
Yes. You know, the one thing is weird. Of course, it's trolling, but the one thing that's fucking weird is you would think with all the satellites we have going in and out of our solar system, and how come there's no pictures of the Earth and like the sun over here?
There are pictures.
Google,
so many pictures of the Earth.
So many.
Good
Google.
point.
Oh my God.
No, I'm with you.
Hey, I don't know.
No, it's a fact, huh, Brian?
Yeah, they don't even know.
Okay.
Google pictures of the Earth.
Do it. It's like see Earth.
You're gonna see
around Earth.
You're gonna see CGI cartoon.
No,
you
know what? It might be.
You would think there'd be all these weird pictures of like the sun here, the moon here, the Earth there, the sun here. There'd be thousands of them.
I had one of those in my Trapper Keeper when I was a kid.
First of all, with the satellites, they're all inside of 400 miles outside, most of them at least. And then when you get past that, they usually don't take pictures. They take a few.
You don't think they would take a bunch of pictures
ones,
of Earth?
They show the Earth when it's like a little tiny dot in the distance.
Hey, if I'm wrong and there is like thousands of pictures of Earth, there's just all these weird, like the sun here, the moon there, then hey, I don't know.
Eddie,
I didn't research
These people are Earthists. They're all Earthists. Why are you arguing with them?
I didn't.
But to have a satellite like that far out and take pictures, they've only sent a few of those out there. They've sent a couple different satellites.
No,
that
but sure there is hundreds of pictures on the internet that you can see of the Earth with the sun in the background, the moon over here, sun and the moon, sun.
But
from
Eddie,
this
you can
angle.
see the Earth rounded from space.
I'm gonna need you to sit
around
now, Eddie.
But maybe I'm wrong.
Hit the bench.
Maybe has never been the worst.
More controversial than word.
A worse way of beginning that statement.
All right. I just want to see
Maybe I'm wrong.
pictures
Maybe
of
the
Earth.
Earth is not
I just want to see pictures of Earth from space. A fucking 47 tower
a 47-story fucking skyscraper collapses at free fall speed, and you're gonna believe fire fucking did that shit?
Is the Earth flat?
No. It's fucking round, is like a pear, right? Isn't that what Tyson McGrossi says?
McGrossi.
God damn it, Eddie.
You
had me
Didn't he say it was a
you
pear?
had me until Degrassi.
Didn't he say it was a pear?
Is the
McGrossi.
Earth flat, ladies and gentlemen?
No, there's no evidence that the Earth is flat. But you know what? There is evidence. There's evidence all over the place that NASA is posting CGI pictures everywhere of Earth. Come on, it's all CGI.
Right, ladies and
Goes
gentlemen.
around.
Is that crazy?
Game of Thrones is
that
on
crazy?
tonight.
I gotta
get
go.
home and catch
I gotta
that.
go.
Seriously.
Look
So you
at
you
the
think you
time.
don't think
Eddie,
no,
the Earth is round.
No, I'm not talking about
Look
the
at
Earth
the
is round.
time.
Flat.
It's
Of
so
course,
round.
It's so round. I'm talking about that. But
You know,
I'm talking about
NASA's
pictures.
trolling. They have a Snapchat account, and just like girls, Joe Rogan's flat Earth denial. Please, don't
You just hooked him up.
don't hook that guy
I
up.
never said the Earth was flat. I'm just saying
I
NASA
am
be
saying
faking
it's
moonshot.
not flat, and
I know-
people are mad at me
I
for
know
saying
ju-
it's not flat.
Really?
BJ Penn apparently thinks the Earth is flat.
Oh, no.
There are Tila Tequila retweeted her the other day. Thinks the Earth is in
Tila
fact
Tequila,
flat.
she's so smart.
Yes.
I love Tila.
Fuck, man.
Well,
Seems like a
what,
fun
then?
gal.
Hey, do you
Earth
still-
is flat.
do you still-
A lot
do
of
you-
people think
did
the
you-
Earth's flat.
Hey, listen, I
Big
don't know what you feel
conspiracy.
anymore.
You can't be
but
my friend if
do
you think
you
the Earth is
believe we
flat.
went to the moon six
Eddie,
times
but
and
let's
back?
Yes.
Do you believe we went to the moon 6 times and back? Of course you do. Do you believe we went to the moon 6 times and back?
He goes, of course you
Do
do.
you? We did? Maybe. You don't know? You're on the fence?
He's from Ohio.
You don't know?
He doesn't
What
have
about
a
you?
doc-
For sure we went.
We for sure went to the moon.
Yes.
It
Okay,
wasn't.
Okay,
It wasn't a
okay.
stage.
Hey, I'm not gonna debate it. I just want to know where you guys are.
I
at.
want to
That's
know
all.
where you
I
got
know
your
you did.
research.
Listen,
Hey,
man. Here's
hey.
100%.
I don't believe for one motherfucking second we went to the fucking moon 6 goddamn times and back, and we can't do it now. We can't do it now.
We can do it now?
No, NASA says we can't do it. We got to figure out how to get through the Van Allen radiation belt.
that's not true.
Wait a minute. No, that's what they said. They're on record. There's videos of it. They're on record saying that.
No,
We're going to
there's
get to the
videos,
moon.
Brian.
We're going to get to the moon as soon as we
I talked to
figure
an
out
astronaut
how to
recently.
get three things. Three things they got to figure out. They've already said it. They've already admitted. They got to figure out how to get to the Van Allen radiation belts. They admitted that. Once they figure that out, then they could have a manned mission to the moon. Wait a minute. Didn't we go 6 times in the 60s?
Conditions change.
Okay.
People back then used to
conditions
smoke
change.
cigarettes
You ever
with their
seen
corpses.
Gravity?
Okay, beautiful. And then the next thing they said they got to figure out the right uniform to handle that kind of radiation. They haven't figured out the right
Good night, ladies and
spacesuit.
gentlemen.
They haven't.
Good night,
They
America.
admit right
Good night,
now
everybody.
today.
Good night, world.
They
I'm
need to
converted.
figure out.
We love
they
you.
Need how
The
to
Earth
figure
is
From
flat.
young Jamie.
I never said that.
From Brendan
I'm just
Schaub,
saying.
from
we
Brian
didn't go to the
Callen,
goddamn moon.
and Eddie
We didn't go
Bravo.
to the
We
goddamn
Thank
for
you.
sure went to the
I
moon.
love you,
Thank
Joe
you.
Rogan. I
We
love
went
you.
to the
I
fucking
love you.
moon.
Good night,
I love everybody in
everybody.
this room. I love
Say
everybody in
goodnight,
this
everybody.
room.
Please say goodnight. We're wrapping this bitch up.
Yeah.
You know what do you think of Michio Kaku?
He's a brilliant physicist.
Totally,
He's
right?
an interesting guy.
He was in this amazing documentary called The Principle. Yeah, Michio Kaku's in it. A bunch of physicists, like professors from MIT, and like religious scientists too. 10 dudes, navigation experts, physicists, Michio Kaku, and they're all just going back and forth discussing space. And they give you a timeline of why we believe what we believe about space. It will melt your fucking brain. Have you ever heard of the cosmic microwave background? Whatever the fuck that means. When you watch this documentary and you find out why we believe what we believe, and the timeline of Ptolemy to Copernicus to Kepler to Galileo, and all that timeline of what people thought and believed. The lights in the sky. That's all they saw was the lights in the sky. Everything goes this way except those wandering stars. And then they figured out those wandering stars were planets. Those are the planets because they're the only ones that are on their own course. So they're all trying to figure out, is the universe spinning around us or are we spinning around the universe? I always thought, oh, they're dumb back then. They thought the world was the center of the universe. And you look back at that, you don't really look into, once you go through the whole story of what we think about space and all that, they tell you, we don't know shit. We're looking at a bunch of lights in the goddamn sky. When someone tells you, how far is the Earth from the sun? They'll say, 93 million miles away. Someone figured that out and someone double-checked it. Dude, it's math. It sounds like there's a lot of bullshit with cosmology. They're telling you this. They're telling you.
Who is they, though, Eddie?
The scientist in Michio Kaku. He'll
What
tell
does he
you.
say?
According to Wikipedia for this documentary, claimed that they weren't told what they were being interviewed for, and Michio Kaku said that this was likely clever editing. And George Ellis has said that I was interviewed for it, but they did not disclose this agenda, which of course is nonsense. I don't think it was worth responding to, and he goes on to talk more about it. There's counter claims just that this is all little falsehood.
How about one thing? Here's a new
nuts.
thing that I never thought about with the whole moon hoax theory. There is no video of a video. There's all this video of dudes on the moon with a fucking moon buggy
Don't take
picking
that
up
away from
rocks
Armstrong.
and all that. Listen up. But there's no video footage of. Video footage of boom, here's an astronaut, here's the Earth, and here's an astronaut, here's Earth. They went up how many times, and there's not one swooping shot of the Earth and the astronaut and the Earth and the
Shitty
astronaut.
cameraman.
They
Come
had some
on,
shitty
come
cameras
on,
too. Even
Yeah.
whatever they could
come on,
use to take
come
pictures of
on.
anything
Think
back
about
then was
that.
pretty crude.
All they needed was
Yeah,
one
but
selfie.
then they released those
that's
pictures
it.
that were
You'd been
proven
happy.
fake. They released those pictures on the NASA website, proven fake.
Just to beat
of
Russia?
Earth from moon. That shit was proven fake. There's like two different
Years
ones they
ago.
released. That's bullshit. But and
I
it's all
do this?
perfect. The picture of the Earth is all perfect from the moon. But then you couldn't get no goddamn video. All those hours of video on the moon, you couldn't swoop up to the goddamn Earth. You couldn't get any video.
get a camera
There's no
B?
video of the Earth from moon. And we went how many motherfucking times? How many motherfucking times?
Six times successfully.
And there's no
7
video
attempts.
of
Apollo
the
13
Earth.
never made it.
They got pictures that were proven fake. Why are they faking pictures?
Goddamn fakers.
Why are they faking pictures?
Moon,
Brendan
Al
Schaub.
Qaeda.
Brendan
Jamie's
Schaub.
already looking into it, and he knows. He
Bigfoot.
knows that's real. There's no video footage.
Well,
of
here's
the-
one thing
of
that
the
they
moon- of
absolutely
Earth
did
from the
fake.
moon?
One thing they absolutely did fake is Michael Collins. Somebody did it. We don't know who. Here's the problem. It could have been an overzealous PR representative, but Michael Collins from one of the Gemini missions. There's a photo of him where they blacked out the background and pretended that it was a photo that was taken in space, but it's an identical photo, just reversed of
I
him.
don't know about that one.
Of him in a training. He was in a training program, so he's hooked up a harness and the whole deal and wires in the
Honey dick.
background.
It's all over.
But look, you can see it.
It's
I mean,
all
this
honey
is.
dick.
But here's the thing, and this is just me trying to be fair. Who the fuck knows who did that? It could have been some idiot who thought he was smarter than everybody, and he worked for the PR department of NASA, and they didn't have any good photos. Look, here's the thing, man. It ain't easy to fucking take photos while you're in a spacewalk. And if a dude is really out there doing a spacewalk, I think it's entirely possible that they could lie and fake photos and twist stuff around. I mean, this was the 1960s. They could kind of do whatever the fuck they wanted to. But you've never seen this before. I want you to see this.
I want to see it. Jesus
You have
Christ. Show it to
Michael Collins, spacewalk, Gemini, fake. Yeah, it's weird. But see, the thing is, I try to be open-minded. I don't know who did that. I don't know when they did that. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it would have been one goofy fuck who worked at NASA who thought he was really smart, and he was in charge of the PR. I said, we got some great photos, Mr. President. Here's one of them.
That's fake
No,
as fuck.
Michael Collins, Gemini spacewalk fake photo.
See, that,
Gemini
that
15.
picture right there is so fake, and they're putting that on NASA's website. They're putting fake
There it is. There it is. You just had it.
pictures.
Go look at this.
Fake pictures on that, and everyone's like,
That's
I
it.
love NASA.
They can't get
They-
one
And
mulligan.
show the contrast. Okay, here it
the
goes.
fuck
So
on.
go see the one on the left is him in a simulation. The one on the right is just the reverse of that image exactly, and it's him in space.
Of course.
Yeah.
You
So
know
what they
that's
did
all the
was-
evidence I need. It's like, that's like showing
So then
me.
every
that's
picture
like
is
showing
fake,
me a
Eddie?
gangster.
No.
That's like showing me some mobster gangster who's murdered people with a stripper, and someone saying, "Look, he's fucking that stripper." That's all I need to motherfucking see. You know what I mean? I don't care if that picture's
Best
picture's fake. You
reference
understand what I'm
ever.
saying?
Yep.
You know
Best
what I'm saying?
comparison.
Worst
That's all I need to see.
example ever.
Okay,
That's
folks.
real shit.
Let's bring this
You're
thing
showing
home.
me a gangster. The TV is
why-
not good for kids.
Why don't you have a show on the Alex Jones channel?
I went full flat Earth on them. Most conspiracy theorists think flat Earth is the most retarded thing ever. When Joe first brought it up, like about a year and a half ago, he said, "Do you know people still believe the Earth is flat and the sun is 3,000 miles away?" And I remember sitting there thinking, "Shit, what are they, Amish or something? How dumb do you have to be
Yeah, you'd
to
be
think
crying.
the world is
YouTube
flat?"
videos.
And then you brought it up
Let's
again. You brought it up again, like maybe 6 months later, and I said on your podcast, I said, "That's got to
that is so dumb. That's got to be some kind of CIA psyop. I was in class, and one of we were talking about conspiracy theories. Manny turns to me and goes, "Dude, you ever look into flat Earth?" This was like 8 months ago or something. Right when he said that.
Manny, did you miss 4th grade?
Manny, anybody drop you on your head?
Manny, what are
thought,
you smoking?
I can't believe anything that ever comes out of his mouth again.
That's
what I
correct.
thought.
Right,
Manny,
Eddie.
please don't ever bring that shit up again. That's a
We're
CIA
getting dramatic.
psyop.
I sense the turn.
And
So now,
then Ernest comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, you ever look into flat Earth?" I said,
Jesus.
"Dude, Jesus goddamn Christ." And he goes, "Hey man, I got a master's in engineering. Look into it." And I just wanted to go. I just went home and I was just gonna
how about
give him
looking at what fucking school that was so we
Yeah.
can tell people?
I'm so crazy. I so don't believe anything.
You want something else to do.
Yeah, I was trying to debunk it. I was Mr. Debunker.
There's a fucking Japanese satellite that takes a photo from 22,000
Those are
miles
the
out
worst
every 10
pictures
minutes.
ever.
22,000 miles away. It's hard to take a good
Fake
iPhone
pictures.
7.
So
You think they're
Have you ever
fake?
seen a picture of it
Hold on,
flat,
hold on.
though?
Eddie,
No,
but hold
I didn't
on,
say
Eddie.
that. I'm not saying it's flat. I'm just
You're
saying,
saying it's not
damn, when you
round?
look into it, I'm saying we don't know what the fuck we're on.
But wait a minute, Eddie. This Japanese satellite, hundreds of scientists worked on
Fake
for like
NASA.
a decade.
They fake moon
They shoot it out
landings.
into space.
They fake
take
the moon
a
landings.
picture every 10 minutes, and you can download it from the website. There's a
CGI
picture.
composite.
Why do you think if
Does
they
it-
have the technology to make CGI that looks that good, why don't they have the
How come NASA-
technology
where's
to
the pictures
shoot a
from NASA?
camera into space?
Where's the pictures from NASA? That looks fake
So
as
you
fuck.
think there's some gigantic conspiracy involving the Japanese government where they put up a fake picture of the Earth from 22,000 miles up every 10 minutes? High resolution,
Yes.
downloadable
Yes.
photo. You think
Yes.
it's fake? Well,
It's all
why
fake.
wouldn't it be real? What isn't it just as likely that the Japanese actually did launch that thing into space? Why would it be fake?
propaganda, man.
Is there
flat.
a photo of this flat Earth?
No, I don't. Like I just said again, there's no photo of the flat Earth from space. There's no photo of the round Earth from
That's
space.
not true. When you watch some ridiculous kung fu video, being a martial arts expert, if you were sitting next to someone who told you that their sensei can't compete in the UFC because they're too deadly, wouldn't you get pissed off? Because you're an actual martial arts expert. That's just like you, with no science background whatsoever, talking
I'm
about
crazy.
these photos. I
I'm
know, but
crazy.
why think like that?
I'm crazy.
But why indulge
Crazy.
that?
I'm crazy.
But why not indulge the full realm of possibilities and not cling to the conspiracy every single time?
No, NASA can get pictures. They've been doing CGI
Okay.
composites
But please answer
this
my
whole
question.
time.
Forget,
So I'm not
forget
gonna-
about stating what NASA does. Please answer my question. Why do you always go towards the conspiracy? Why do you never consider the possibility
Too many
that maybe?
lies.
But
Too
Eddie, they're
many
not
lies.
the same people.
It's all the same.
So everybody's
it's
lying?
a global thing. Yes, all the European space agencies lying.
They're all
in on
it.
it.
If the
So
Earth isn't
crazy.
round,
Yeah, I told
what's the
you I'm
advantage?
crazy. I'm
I know, but what's
crazy.
the advantage that it's not round?
If
They control you, bro. With
They
the
just
ice
wanna
wall.
fuck
How
with
would
easy.
it
You
be?
put them on a ball because, again, I'm crazy. You put them on a ball. My guess is you're on a ball. You're nowhere. Don't try to go anywhere. Just stay there and work.
Oh hell no!
Stay
You
there
saw
and
the
work.
Truman
You ain't
Show.
trying to
So
go
they
much.
sat down and said, you know what? We got to release some fake math that shows that you can demonstrate that the Earth is round. We got to
Dude, there's no
release that.
pictures
We got to
of
work.
the Earth from space, man.
What is that? We just looked at one, Eddie. Stop saying that.
It was fake.
You don't know anything about that?
It looks fake to me.
You're
don't have a
saying
That's a
background.
fake ass
But
picture.
you don't have. Come on, Eddie. You're just looking at it with the naked eye. You're
So what
coming
does
at
that
it
make
with
me?
a confirmation bias.
Crazy, right?
I don't think it makes you crazy.
I'm just having fun with it.
But you're very influential. And you're saying these things to millions of people. But
Yeah.
I don't think you're thinking correctly.
I know. That's why I've stated many times
That you're crazy. But
I'm
here's the
losing
problem.
my mind. People that question authority are usually looked at as crazy.
There's a problem in the way you approach these things because you approach them all knowing before you even start that they're a conspiracy.
I'm telling you what I
So
think.
that's confirmation bias.
I'm telling you got to prove it to me. You lie so goddamn much. I'm never going to be saying the things that a defense
But you
attorney
don't
would
have
say.
to.
I'm saying the thing
I-
that
you
the
keep saying that.
prosecuting
You
attorney
say
would
that
say.
all the time.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
not, but it's not a good. It's
I'm
not a good
saying-
analogy because it's
That's
court.
exactly how
and
I look
court's
at it.
filled with lies.
Yeah. The
Words.
government's on being accused of lying,
I understand,
and
but
they've
this
been
is-
caught
but that's-
lying,
but
so
you-
they're in court.
But here,
so are
Eddie,
you
it's not
saying?
the
Let me
government.
finish, though.
It's not the government. It's scientists.
It's all government
Science,
scientists.
Eddie.
You think scientists? You think there's these independent scientists come? It's all government scientists. They're all trying
But why
to
would
get their
you
grants.
think-
They're all.
why
they
would you
gotta,
think?
You don't think the globalists aren't haven't controlled
the problem
science
is?
and
The problem
information
is?
since day one?
You know what the
think
problem
this is like a new
Brendan?
thing?
Their name, the globalists.
Does that make me crazy?
But no,
yes.
the problem
He's got a
is
little too
Yes.
deep, but he's
the
not
problem
crazy.
is this idea of the government. The government consists of a bunch of
They
individuals
control science, they
with
control
100 different
history.
agencies. There's a bunch of different factions that you call the government.
I agree.
And the idea that it's
I agree
all
with
like
you.
the government can't be trusted.
I just say that because I'm not going to. I mean, you want me to pick out some agencies? Yeah, NASA. I could pick out some NIST. But just in general, it's history, science, education, energy, everything has always been controlled by the government since day one. Radio, TV, and the movies have always been about propaganda, always in every country. It's nothing new. It's old school gangsters.
What does this have to do with the world being
No,
flat?
this is how gangster our government is. There was a war on drugs. We started a war on drugs. Turns out we're bringing it in. There's a war on terrorism. Turns out we created Al Qaeda. You understand why I'm crazy? I'm crazy because of that shit. I'm like, you could believe that shit. You want to believe that shit?
But the
Good luck.
problem
But I
is-
ain't. Just there's so much fraud when you look into it. I'm like, I
Astronomy
don't
doesn't
trust
come from the
shit.
government; it comes
Look-
from scientists.
Look into
Eddie,
it.
I have looked into it. Look, this is you could go over these different
That looks so
sections
fake.
of the Earth.
That's just NASA's. By
It's
the
no
way.
big deal.
Oh, so NASA
can
has
we
one
agree
too.
to disagree? Because I don't trust
why,
shit.
Why think that
I don't
the
trust shit.
government does make these fake pictures of the Earth?
It's easier to control people when they're on a ball.
I've been trying to tell people that forever.
I don't know.
But, like, we got to live on a ball. I told it to my wife. I said, it'd be easy to get the kids to listen if we just lived on a ball.
I don't know, man.
house shit.
I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe.
That doesn't even make any sense. Why would it be easier to get people to listen if they're on a ball rather than they're on a plate?
Because if there's more land, people are going to want to work. There's actually more land. Shit.
What do you mean? There's more land.
Who knows? If you look into the experiments to prove that the Earth is spinning, all of them failed. Look into it.
What are you
You could just think that. We've been indoctrinated into thinking
that's
all
not
this.
true. That's not true.
Okay, I'm crazy.
I don't have the science in my head to back it up either, but that's not true.
Where's the evidence that? Find the evidence.
There are
Eddie,
13-year-old kids in
moving.
high school right now that can show you the evidence with
Well, where's it?
scientific.
How come you can't show it to me?
Because I'm not in class right now, and I'm not up to
Where-
date. I'm doing JRE work right now.
Okay, you're talking about
What's the
some
middle
shit you don't
working
know
the
about.
camera?
You're
No,
talking about some
but
shit
so
you don't know
are
about.
you. But you're saying something that people have been proving for hundreds and hundreds
Look
of years.
into the Michelson-Morley experiments. That was Einstein said
Don't
there's
bring
no
him into
proof
this.
that we're moving. Dude, you guys just haven't looked into it. That's
No,
all it is.
You're
You
watching
guys haven't
YouTube
looked into
videos,
it.
Eddie. There's
You
a
have-
difference between looking into it and watching YouTube videos.
What if it's true that Albert Einstein said there is no evidence that the Earth is spinning? What if he says he said a quote? You say that's not true. I saw it on YouTube. But what if we find out that it is true? Then what?
What if they find out leprechauns are really butt fucking
Exactly,
genies
that's
on the
what I
moon?
thought.
Most famous failed experiment.
That's the
What is this?
Michelson-Morley experiment. They couldn't recreate it. It was in the 1880s. I looked this up when I was watching
Science,
a podcast.
true
with Derek
science
Kay.
is
so listen
supposed-
to what he just
supposed to
said.
recreate.
You keep using that. Look at the Michelson-Morley experiments. I did. I
What
read up
happened?
the information on it. It's an experiment that was supposed to be able to be recreated. It was not able to be recreated. That evidence is used by flat Earth supporting people. Like you just said, like, go look it up. I'm
Okay.
trying to tell you that. That's the
This
evidence you were trying to
experiment-
say. It's
If
fake.
they say the experiment showed the Earth is not spinning, no one can reproduce that experiment. That's why it's not real.
Okay.
And this thing that you keep, but don't, no,
Hey,
'cause
where
you're-
did you get this information?
This is coming off the internet.
Exactly.
The American-
So
the
you're
American
reading
Journal-
some information. I'm reading some information
Slow
off
down, slow
off
down,
the internet.
Slow
You
down.
didn't go to the
Slow down.
library,
There's a book called the American Journal of Science. I'm sure that a lot of
which
people
is
respect that.
bought and paid for.
Well, maybe.
It is.
Why would anybody be paying money for people to lie about the world spinning? That is so
That's a
ridiculous.
very good question that everybody asks coming in.
Coming into the group, have a
people
seat,
get,
have
people
some
get
coffee.
knocked down.
My name's Eddie, and I
one
believe
by
the Earth's
one,
flat.
they're getting knocked
Hi,
down.
Eddie.
All you gotta do is look
Eddie,
into
they're
it.
not. They're
The
not
flat
getting
Earth is
knocked
huge.
down. That's why we just read this thing that you've been citing, and you didn't even understand it when we were reading it. So you think it's more likely that everyone is in on it and lying than it is one guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and he makes a YouTube video, and you get convinced.
You
haven't
just
really
read
looked
some
into it.
shit that he pulled up off the internet,
But
and
I know that you don't
and
understand
you're like
it.
all over it.
I know you didn't understand
No,
it.
I
'cause he
understand
had
it now. It
explained
doesn't
to you
matter.
twice.
It doesn't matter.
But I understood it, and he had explained it to you twice. You didn't understand it. You were arguing
No,
for it.
no. This is the proof. Now I understand it. There was an experiment. They didn't prove it, but
Right.
that doesn't mean that it's spinning.
Jamie, I'm sure you can find some evidence that the Earth is spinning. Eddie, people have known it's spinning forever. That's how you see the sun. We spin around. That's why it
Okay,
makes
explain this
eclipses.
to me.
That's why we
That's why you
age,
can
too.
track time zones. That's why you can put a piece of stick in the ground. It acts as a sundial.
You're saying all the shit.
Eddie, there's
you would say.
a fundamental problem with the way you approach these things. It's a bad fallback because what we're saying is there are conspiracies. The problem is when you think everything is conspiracy, you act as a psyop guy and you fuck people over that want to look at real conspiracies. Real conspiracies
I thought,
like
too.
the Gulf of Tonkin, Operation Northwoods, real things that really happened. When you start thinking that the world is flat, dinosaurs aren't real, all this nutty shit that you believe, and you just jump into it, it discredits all these other things that you believe. that might be real to that.
You just haven't looked into it. That's all.
Eddie.
I used to say the same
Eddie,
stuff.
you're talking about the Earth
I
being
said this-
flat.
I was-
Thousands
I'm
of
saying the
scientists
same
have
thing.
looked into it. You think they're all wrong? Eddie, there's websites dedicated to debunking it. It's dedicated to showing you the science,
On the
showing
internet.
you the math.
Of course. You start talking about
Eddie, this
flat
is
Earth
so
and the science.
crazy.
Oh, you just
You
haven't
think
looked
the Earth
into
is
it.
flat?
I didn't say that. I said I don't know if it's flat or round. When I see a picture of Earth from space, when I see a real picture, then we'll have the proof. I'm just saying we don't even have proof that it's round.
No, we're looking at pictures while we're sitting here. You're not even taking into consideration the fact that this is a monitor. You're talking about a photo of the Earth. Photo of the Earth from 22,000 miles away, and they take one every fucking
Looks
10 minutes.
CGI to me.
They
The
might,
only way
Eddie,
to
it
go-
might look CGI to you. When
You
you
could
take,
believe it. I don't believe it.
Eddie, please. When you take one of these photos, these what are those called?
Panorama. I'll show you.
Panorama.
When you do that, you know what that is? That's a composite. You're taking a bunch of photographs and they piece them all together. It makes one enormous photo. When you see these photos from space of the Earth from a closer satellite, not the NASA one that Jamie just pulled up, what you're seeing is they take a photo, they take another photo, and they piece them all together. There's no seams. Do you believe anything?
Like I believe the science in like a skyscraper.
You
Why?
believe that's
Because I see
Sully?
the skyscraper. It's standing there.
How much have you looked into how much work was done to try to put satellites into orbit?
So you think we went to the moon?
I said, how much did you look
you
into
think we
that?
went to the moon?
Eddie, answer my fucking
come you don't
question.
answer my
You talk
question?
ridiculous. Everything
Really?
is the government, the government, the government. The government's fake.
Fake pictures.
You don't think satellites are real?
I don't think so.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, what's happening?
How high do airplanes go? 30,000 feet, right? 35,000.
Right.
When you're on the ground, you could barely see them. When they're at that 30,000 feet and you look down, you wouldn't be able to see a goddamn
It's true.
bus or a plane. Now, those satellites are supposed to be 100 miles up. Think about that.
Yeah, because they're in space and they're a light. They're a very small pinprick of light that moves across the sky. You can see them with optics. If you look with like a big spotting scope, you can actually program it into the telescope. You punch in the key numbers, and it'll move specifically to a spot in the sky where you can tune into the moon or tune into Saturn. Because of the fact that the Earth is spinning, we're catching all sorts of different shit, all sorts of different times, especially no matter where you are. So it can tell you exactly where the space station's going to be, where the moon's going to be, where Mars is going to be, and they all move to this thing. I
You
mean,
believe Mars rover is real?
man, Eddie, I don't think I can do this anymore because it's just like I don't see why. First of all, I don't see where the money is to have all these hoaxes. What do you think? Is the Earth flat or round?
I don't know if it's flat or round until we see a picture from space. That
You're
isn't
saying this
fake.
bitch could be square.
I don't know what it is.
Look, I love you, man. I love you. You know I
I just
love
don't
you.
want. I'm just
Eddie.
trying to. I want to be able to talk about flat Earth and have fun.
Okay, when you're watching a fake video the guy made about nuclear bombs not being
you
real.
think it's fake?
Okay,
That's what you think.
okay.
I mean,
I just feel like, why would you listen to them? People use this verbose terminology because it makes them appear smarter than they really are. They're trying to say it in a fancier way because they really didn't go to school for this shit. They don't have an education in this stuff. And they're just talking out of their ass.
And they get
That's
other people to
disrespectful
follow.
to the fucking generations of people that have been studying that their whole lives. That one guy can figure out all these different things. That dinosaurs aren't real, nuclear bombs aren't real, the Earth is flat, satellites aren't real. It's ridiculous.
NASA lied 6 times about the moon missions.
Okay.
I don't believe
We
shit
keep going
coming
back
from
to
them.
that.
They have special videos. They're
you don't
telling
find
you.
a problem that there's no photos of the Earth being flat?
There's no photos of the Earth being round either.
There's plenty.
CGI artists. How do we skip over that?
I think we can't get anywhere
NASA
with
can't
this.
even get a picture.
Can I send you to space?
Welcome to Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, live from orbit. In zero gravity, every move is a new challenge. Ready to defy gravity with us?
Listen, like, would you need a
That's what I'm saying.
videographer with you to
I just
so
want to see
shoot
something
the
that's
video
real,
too?
man.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to believe NASA after you
This
know
isn't
they
NASA.
faked 6,
This
it's
isn't
all
NASA.
it's all government
You
science.
tell me then, why does that compass point towards the north?
I don't know. There's a magnetic force
Yeah.
in the North Pole, and we know the Polaris is right over the North Pole, and the constellations rotate around that, and it's right over the North Pole.
How much time have you actually spent?
Is that not
going
true?
over
Is
astronomy?
that not true?
No.
When you look at time-elapse photography, all the constellations go on. Polaris is the fixed star. That's why you can go. You could find your way around. Just find the North Star. It doesn't move.
And if the Earth is spinning, like we know it is, what's directly above the Earth would stay the same because the Earth is spinning faster than space is. If you were spinning and you're talking about a small window of time, they're taking over a few hours. When you're looking at a time lapse, you're looking at a time lapse over a few hours. If you were looking at a time lapse over months, you would see that thing spinning too. They've been tracking that forever.
You could watch time-elapse photography on YouTube.
Eddie, what are you looking at right there? When you see that time-lapse photo
Is
up
the
there?
sky spinning or is the Earth spinning?
What do you think?
I think the sky's spinning.
Jesus Christ. If you have a ball and you spin it on your finger like Michael Jordan, the outside equator of the ball is going to spin like fucking crazy in this big wide loop, but the tip of the ball is going to spin in a very short circle.
Because they're rotating, they are moving.
Okay.
You're always going to
would
see
you think
Polaris.
why would you think that this is a conspiracy?
Are they not stars?
They're trying to control us.
I don't know.
What are they?
People.
LEDs?
People looking down.
I don't think they're
Aliens?
LEDs.
Grandpa,
Are they
grandma,
aliens?
happy people.
They're souls. You're telling me my grandma's up there?
Flying unicorns, bro. Your grandma's
The moon
flying.
landings are so goddamn ridiculous. Oh, fucking. There's video of them like just maybe 100,000 feet in the air, and they're like filming it, making it look, they're manipulating. What the fuck? Come on.
That video is strange.
That's a damning.
I've never seen anybody
that's some
explain
damning
that video.
shit. And explain what they were doing.
Well, the video says that they're saying they're at 30,000 miles out. That's what they're saying. Something like that. They're
They're
wait-
halfway to the moon. They're halfway.
they're
So it's
halfway
like
to the moon.
like
Right.
125,000 miles away from Earth.
They
so
said halfway. Is that what they said?
Yeah, halfway to the moon.
Okay.
So they had to make it look like they were far away. So, if they look out their window, the little circle, their whatever shape, maybe it was a rectangle, whatever, the window, the entire Earth fills up all the glass. Of course, because you're like still.
Well, you got to remember they blocked out all the other windows. That was
Yes.
what was damning about it. What's damning about it is that they've got this camera set up where they're filming the blackness of the interior of the cabin and the circular window. And the circular window is supposed to represent Earth, this little slice of Earth with clouds on it and shit. And the black.
And they got a stencil trying to create the.
I don't know if that's real. See, I've looked at that 100 times. It might have just
It
been.
looks like a-
yeah.
no,
but this
it looks like a
but
stencil.
What I think more than anything, more likely, it was just like.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's fake, and now they're pushing it as real.
But watch, this is what you could see. You can see. This is just you gotta go to the one where it shows the actual fake footage. This is the actual video. This is not going to show the full thing where they pull away and you see the guys manipulating the dampers and pulling the things off the wall.
so
Then it
see,
reveals.
that's
it
an-
reveals that they're in low Earth orbit. That they're not
Like
really.
they're really just looking at Hawaii. It's like they got a little hole and they're focusing on a little island.
Google Bart Sibrel. I had dinner with this gentleman back in the day. He's a very nice guy, and he's the guy that wrote "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon," and he's absolutely convinced that they never went to the moon. He's not a dumb guy. I had an interesting conversation with him. He's fully on board and absolutely committed, and not that they couldn't do it or that they couldn't get the footage of it, but that they faked the whole thing. Like they never even went out there. Some people think that they couldn't film it. They went there, but they couldn't film it, so they used this fake film. But that there was other ways to track whether or not they went there. There's some people that believe that. And then other people believe, no, it's all fake. It's all fake. From the jump, they shot them into low Earth orbit. They float around in low Earth orbit and then drop back down to the ocean.
I believe that. I believe it's just a scam. They're just making money, and they're showing. There was the distraction for from the Vietnam War. All 6 missions during Richard Nixon administration, they did one every 6 months with different astronauts. No one got hurt. No one died. Are you kidding me?
Well, did you ever see the video footage from the first man in space? The video footage of the first man in space is so entirely fake. It's fucking hilarious. It's a guy from Russia. No, the guy from Russia. The Russian guy. I mean, he did go into space, but they didn't have a fucking camera crew inside the capsule with him. There's like opposing lights and different, like you could see, like there's a distance between the guy, but it's so fake.
It's always been propaganda.
Put up Google fake video footage of first man in orbit. What was the Russian cat's name? The first dude that went into orbit. What is this?
This is the footage.
No. This is the moon landing. It's a Soviet moon landing. No, first man in orbit. It's inside the cockpit. It's like
just
a
put
camera that's
faking NASA, faking Earth. NASA
fake video
faking
footage,
Earth.
first man in orbit, Russian.
I added Russian because nothing came up.
No, just put NASA faking Earth.
Well, what was the guy's name? Who was the first man in orbit? Yuri Gagarin. Okay, so go Yuri Gagarin video. You can see the video. So he climbs into this thing, he takes off, and then like see if you can find the first person staring at him. There's a bunch of it where it's like so clearly not really happening.
It's all fake, man. They're all faking it. Russians are faking it. They're all doing it together. There's no real Cold War.
But there was a
some sort of a video on the analysis of that, saying that there's light sources in there. There wouldn't be a light source inside that cabin that you'd be able to film with, and how far away would the camera have to be to capture this? They had these big ass clunky cameras, and there wasn't that kind of space.
But if you go to Nordstrom's,
You know what I
rack,
want before we
does
leave
that
this
mean
podcast? I
you're-
want one example, Eddie, of why we should believe the Earth is flat. That's what I want.
Are you kidding me?
You son of a bitch.
Convince me that it's flat.
There's no way I could do that. No,
There's no
everybody,
way.
anybody that thinks the Earth is flat, they totally don't believe what we're taught about what's above us. All the information we got about all
We're
those
off.
lights in the sky, they're lying
NASA's
to
lying?
us. They're lying to us.
Why would NASA lie?
And there's a reason,
well,
and I
why
can sit
wouldn't
here
they,
and tell you,
Brian?
but you guys don't want to hear it.
Can you give us the Cliff Notes?
The Cliff Notes, man. The goal has always been a one world government. They always wanted a one world government. All the Roman emperors, they try to figure out, a new emperor would come and go, you know what? I'm not going to let my soldiers get married. That way we'll have a stronger army. They have different philosophies, but they all wanted a one world government. There's no way to have a fucking one world government. Like, one world government, that's going to put me out of a job. Fuck your one world government. The only way to make a one world government work is to have the people embrace it. They have to want it. So the trick is to make people want it, to embrace it. There's only one way. The only way is if there was some extraterrestrial threat from above us. That would be the only way to have everyone embrace the one world government. And back when I used to believe in UFOs, but before I figured out that they want us to believe in UFOs, they're preparing us for a fake alien invasion, a one world government. The only way to do it is to get us to embrace it. And the only way to embrace it is from an alien attack. It's always been about a fake alien attack. You know who promoted space more than anybody? The Vatican. They have all the astronomers. They're all Jesuit Vaticans. All the ones that are giving us this information about space, they all come from the Vatican. They're the most powerful telescope, the Vatican. And you know what name it is? Lucifer. We're talking about by the year 2005, we're going to have 3 telescopes linked with a computer. We're going to see further into space than ever before. None of that shit came. Isn't it weird that every space documentaries, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I was balls deep, me and Joe were balls deep into space. I thought I was better than people and shit because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that shit and wonder, what? This is all cartoons. And then I keep watching. All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. What's above us and what we're on, we're being lied to. Once you go flat, you never go back. It's not that we believe something ridiculous and you don't believe it. It's not about that. It's about we actually don't know what we're on, and we always say that. But based on all the shit that we got by the mainstream, we don't believe that.
Here's what
you believe that.
I cut this off. It's 10 o'clock.
Man, we gotta get out of here.
It's
I
10
love
o'clock.
science.
I love science too.
I love
And,
science. I don't want to fight. I want to laugh about it. I'm an idiot. I believe in flat earth. I'm crazy. That's all you need to know.